Oh my gosh, this is a story. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Yomi. My name is Yomi. I'm a dual degree student at Brown University and Rhode Island School of Design, which is a 5-year prestigious program where you go to a prestigious Ivy League institution, Brown University, and an art school, Rhode Island School of Design, which is considered to be one of the best, if not the best, art school in the United States. So it's a very prestigious program, and I just want to detail my freshman year experiences in this program at Brown and RISD, two very different experiences. I don't have a script to go off of, I just want to kind of reflect on my year. So if you've been following my channel, you've seen a lot of the college and art videos that I've been posting, from me getting accepted into colleges through my college decision reaction video.
I'm so nervous because the Ivy League decisions come out tomorrow. So that's in less than 24 hours, but I still have to wait a long time. And the Brown RISD dual degree program acceptances and denials come out tomorrow.
I got accepted to the Brown RISD dual degree program! Reacting to getting into Brown and reacting to getting into RISD, to being so excited to go to Brown and RISD in the dual degree program, to moving in and showing you my move-in vlog for RISD. Guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Yomi. This year I will be a college freshman, and today is move-in day because I'm a freshman, and freshmen in the Brown RISD dual degree program live at RISD. And you've just seen me post countless vlogs of me going to different Brown events, hanging out with friends, being sad, depressed, super elated, super excited to move in, very stressed and having lots of homework to do. So yeah, I'm so thankful to everyone who's been watching my videos. This is like a therapy for me, which I didn't really realize at first, but it helps me get my emotions out and explain how I'm feeling, and it helps me get through my emotions. In the Brown RISD dual degree program, you spend most of your time at RISD freshman year. You live there, and most of the classes you take are at RISD. So I'm a freshman, so I spent most of my time at RISD, but I made sure to stay connected with people at Brown University because my parents went there, and I was super proud to go to the school that my parents went to, and it was a really cool experience. I honestly had no idea what to expect going into college, even though my parents went here. I moved all the way from Florida, which Florida is one of the most populous states in the United States, and I moved all the way to Rhode Island, which is the smallest state in the United States. So it was very different from Florida. The climate was different, the people are different, just pretty much everything about it is different. I was thrown into an environment that I was not used to, around people who I wasn't used to. I didn't go to an art high school, so I wasn't around very many artsy people growing up. Growing up, I also thought artsy people were really weird and strange and dyed their hair red and dyed their hair blue and had all these piercings, which is very true. Like, if you go to art school, there are a lot of people who have all these piercings and dye their hair in many crazy colors, but you realize that that's one of the elements that makes them special. And I really appreciate all of my friends, how diverse they are and their uniqueness and their quirkiness, and I've learned to appreciate the students who I thought were weird art kids. Hey, learn to accept everyone, you know? So going into Rhode Island School of Design, I had this very almost an elitist perspective, oh, all these art school kids are weird, I kind of don't even want to go here. I just really want to go to Brown because my parents went to Brown, and I was watching this British art show. It's searching for the next great British artists, and I just saw it's kind of like America's Got Talent or Project Runway or Making the Cut or America's Next Top Model. So these artists, they'll make these paintings or drawings or whatever, and then these judges will judge them. And I just saw the way that these British artists judged these art contestants and the type of things that they said, and how I didn't agree with these art critics, and how I thought what they said was stupid, and how I thought what they thought was art was stupid. And I watched this show 7 days before moving to Rhode Island School of Design, so I'm well, I know I'm not gonna like this school because I can tell I don't like how art people think in the world of art, so I know I'm not gonna like it. So I went in with that perspective. I'm I don't really want to go to RISD, which I was excited at first to go to Brown and RISD, but then during the summer I was I'm not really excited to go to RISD. Going into college, it was a very interesting experience. The Brown RISD students moved in 3 days before the RISD students, and we moved in, I believe, a day or two before the Brown students. So I did all 3 orientations at the same time. the Brown University orientation, the RISD orientation, and the Brown RISD orientation, which if you don't know, the Brown RISD program basically has 15 people for each cohort, which the program is 5 years long. So there's around 75 people in the program at both schools at one time. So there's just this group of 14 other people that I'm getting to know through the Brown RISD program. And then I'm thrown into the Brown orientation, which the first day of Brown orientation, we had an ice cream social, which was absolutely huge. There was like over 1,000 people there, and you're just going around to meet people and you're so intimidated. I see all of these tall, like 6 foot, it felt like they were 8 foot tall athletes just walking around. I'm like, everyone at Brown is so tall. Oh my goodness, I'm so short and I'm not muscular. Oh my goodness, this is crazy. And I'm so intimidated. And people would come up to talk to me and I'd be so shy and they'd be so outgoing, and I'd be like, they'd probably be like the cool popular kids in high school, and I'm like, well, this is not what I expected. Because going into college, I thought everyone at Brown, would be like super nerdy. And like, according to my calculations, like stuff like that. And I don't say that to make fun of people, but like, I just was like, oh, like everyone would be super nerdy and like wouldn't know how to have a good time. Boy, was I wrong. If you go to Brown University, you will realize it is like the exact opposite. Like some people you speak to and you wouldn't even think like that they go to a school like this. So it's like super crazy. But going into college, I stumbled across something called the Brown like 2025 page. I don't remember the exact Instagram page. But basically you send in a bio to the person like who manages the page, like a bio of like whatever, like things you like, what you do, like what state you live in. You write whatever you want in the bio, and you send in like 4 or 5 pictures, and then they post your bio on this page. And this wasn't sponsored by the school. A lot of different schools have it. So I would definitely recommend getting connected with that if you're an incoming freshman. Connect with one of those pages and like make a post if you're comfortable doing so. So I made a post, and within like an hour of that post being published, about 200 new people had followed me on Instagram who I didn't know. So I was like, oh, all these new people. So I connected with a lot of people through there. A lot of people DM'd me saying, oh, what's the dual degree program? I don't know what this program is. And a lot of people said, oh, like, you're so cool, like, whatever reason, whatever thing they saw in my bio that they liked, and reached out to me. And I reached out to a lot of people, said, hey, you seem cool, or whatever, talked to people. I talked to some people the whole summer. So like before I even graduated high school, before I went to prom, I was texting people from Brown and was getting connected. And even some of those people I'm still like friends with today. Like, I'm not best friends, but I can count on them for things and they can count on me for things, which was special. So when I went into the ice cream social, there were already a lot of people I knew. So it's like really weird, like following like 500 people who you've never met before on Instagram, and then like walking into this ice cream social months later and just seeing people that you know and being like, I know you, I follow you on Instagram. Or like people came up to me and were like, oh my goodness, I've been searching like for you all night, like I want to meet you. And it's just like a cool feeling, like already knowing a lot of people, because that's like a good thing about this digital age. So I go from there to doing a few of the Brown orientation events, and then the RISD orientation events start. So the RISD orientation events start, and like they're about to start, and I'm like, so what are RISD kids gonna be like? All the Brown students seem really nice. Are the RISD students gonna be like weird? Are they gonna be mean? Are they not gonna like me? Because going in, I already heard that like some RISD students don't like Brown RISD students. So I was like, are they not gonna like me? So I walk in with my orientation group, and it's like, whoa, everyone is so cool, and everyone is from all around the world, which I kind of already knew because I followed the RISD 2025 page and made a post there too. And met with people from there online, and had people like from Japan, like so many people from China, like from Korea, from like so many different, Vietnam, so many different countries in like my orientation group. And I'm someone like who doesn't come from a place where like you have people from all of these like different countries. So I'm like, whoa, this is like so cool. And I meet people and it's like, wow, like this is crazy. So I get acclimated to campus. I learned that RISD students are really cool and really artistic and really out there, and it encourages me to express myself too. And I learned that Brown students are so cool too, and so smart, and are I don't know, the student bodies are so different, they dress so differently, and I don't know, it's just so cool. So I get acclimated to school. I'm super excited. The first few days of campus, I'm super hyper. Like the first few days of being on campus, I'm super hyper. Like jumping around the room, dancing. Like if you see in my first like vlog.
These moves. You should be choreographing Michael Jackson, man.
Just dancing, being hyper, being super annoying, like on an emotional high, and like just being so excited, wanting to talk to everyone, and just super hyper. I'm like, wow, this is so cool. Playing loud music all the time. I'm just so excited, and it was such an experience. Going into my first class was my drawing class. Oh my gosh, this is a story. So I made a schedule of all my classes, all my RISD and Brown classes for my first semester of college. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be prepared. You're not gonna get me like caught slacking. I'm gonna be in class, I'm gonna be there like a little bit early. So I wake up on time, and like my schedule that I made was from Monday through Friday. I wake up on time, I go to the room, no one is there. I walk around the building, there are other classes. I'm like, hey, do you know where Professor such and such is? And I can't figure it out until I go find a class, ask the professor, hey, do you know where this professor is? And I show them the schedule, and they say, this is the schedule for Monday. Today is Wednesday. I looked at the first day of schedule, which was Monday, because it was the first day of the week. But we started classes on Wednesday. So I was 30 minutes late to my first class. And mind you, in RISD, then they stress this in the beginning in your orientation. If you miss two days of class, your teacher can kick you out. And many teachers do. There are some that don't. There are a lot that don't. But there are many teachers who will kick you out if you miss 2 days of class. So you can miss 1 day. After the first day, even if it's a half day, even if you show up late, you can be kicked out. Even if you're 30 minutes late. Most professors aren't going to do that if you're 30 minutes late. But anyways, like they say, like if you miss the first day of class, you'll be kicked out. So I go the first day, I'm 30 minutes late. I'm going around three, four different buildings, and I don't know where my class is. I'm like about to start crying. I'm like hyperventilating. I'm super stressed. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm late to my first day of class. Like it's my first day, and like I'm gonna get kicked out of my class, and I'm gonna have to do summer classes, and I'm like so stressed. And I go in to my drawing professor's room. Everyone is there, like they're giving their introduction. Like they already finished introductions. I walk in. Well, actually no. So this is what happened. I'm in a building. I call one of my friends from my orientation group because he was in my class with me. And I'm like, hey, like, where are you guys? And he tells me where they are. So I rush to the class. I walk in. They've already finished introductions. And I say to the professor, hey, I'm like so sorry. Like I got so confused. Like I looked at the schedule wrong. And she's like, no, it's okay. It's only your first day. So I'm like, oh my goodness, thank you. Because there are some professors that are not nice like that at RISD. So I'm like, oh my goodness, thank you. So I walk into the class and I just start drawing. Okay, so this is, for some people this is going to be expected. For some people this is going to be so surprising. She says for today's class we're going to have a model. So I'm like, oh nice, we're going to have a model. So the model gets on the stand. And what does the model start doing? The model starts taking off their clothes. And I'm like, wait a minute. What is going on? So they're taking off their clothes. So I'm there. There's a whole naked person in front of me. And I'm like, it was so uncomfortable. I wanted to leave. I wanted to get out of there. Some people are super comfortable with that. Other people are not. I grew up in a very like conservative, like very religious like environment and upbringing. So that was like, why is this person naked in front of me? And it took me a while to like be able to like kind of get that out of my head. Even when I do them now, because I've done them so many times, like these nude figure drawings, like it still makes me uncomfortable, but I've gotten used to it. So I was so surprised that first day of class from being 30 minutes late, thinking I'm gonna get kicked out, to having this person like nude in front of me and having to draw nude figure models for 8 hours long the first day of class. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I get acclimated to campus. I I developed like a cute little friend group in my section, which in like RISD, you have 3 studios, like 3 studios your first semester and 3 studios your second semester of freshman year. And in those 3 studios, you have the same like 22 people in each of those 3 classes. So I developed a cute little friend group, and like we have lunch together every day, and like it's really nice, and like all 3 of us are from different countries, so it's like, whoa, this is like super cool. Like, so like just like hearing them talk about how their cultures are different and how like they'd ask me questions and like it'd be different and like it'd be so cool, and I'm like, whoa, this is like so interesting. So yeah, I have a friend group, connecting with everyone, and like it's so cool. I just walk around campus, like I'd go with some of my Brown RISD friends and we'd go to like dinner and like walk down the hill. We went to the Japanese restaurant down the hill, and I tried octopus. But yeah, like my friend, I'd be like, hey, like you want to go take pictures at me? We're gonna go take pictures at Brown. So like my friend group, like we would go, or like I just walk around with some Brown friends, or like walk around with some Brown RISD friends, bring along some RISD friends and just walk around campus, or go hang out with some like friends at Brown. And then I started connecting with people. So I met this guy, and I thought he was really cool. So I texted him. Mind you, from 6th grade to 12th grade, I never hung out with anyone. I never asked people to hang out. People didn't really ask me to hang out. So I find this guy, I think he's really cool. I'm like, yo, like I want to hang out with him. So like 2 days after I meet him, I text him. I'm like, hey, like, yo, like I think you're really cool. Like we should hang out. So I'm super scared. I'm like, he's probably gonna be like, no, like I don't know how to do this. So he says yes, and we hang out, and like we have a good time. So then after that, like someone asked me if like I wanted to hang out, and texted me like, hey, like I met them, and they're like, hey, like we should hang out, and like we hang out. And like from then on, I start reaching out to people. I'm like, hey, like you seem cool, whether I just follow them on Instagram, I see them on campus, and like I get lunch with so many people. So like this year, I probably had lunch like one-on-one with like maybe 50 or 60 different people. And I've just had lunch probably in total, not just one-on-one, but maybe with like around 350 different people. And so I've learned all about people's different experiences. So that was just like really interesting, like getting to know people, because growing up I didn't hang out with people. Now I've hung out with so many different people. I've had lunch with so many different people, gone to restaurants. I've really like enjoyed it. So I got over that shock of the first month of being in college and not being like used to this environment, and not being homesick, but just kind of being stressed because I didn't know how to do things like by myself. Having to walk to like the eye doctor by myself because my eyes were bothering me for like 2 weeks, and I couldn't focus, and I couldn't like really read very well because my eyes were hurting. So having to walk to the eye doctor by myself and schedule doctor's appointments and like get my passport by myself, that was just like completely different for me. My first semester, I feel like I didn't try very hard. I took 4 RISD classes and 1 Brown class my first semester. So I say I didn't try very hard because coming in from like the pandemic coming in, like I lost a lot of my motivation for school. And after like losing my motivation, it was hard my senior year to do my work, and I got into bad habits and things of that nature when I used to be very proactive with my work and things of that nature, and I never would procrastinate. So going into college, I was burned out. I had taken 14 AP classes in high school. I was tired. 4 language classes at the same time my senior year of high school: AP Spanish Literature, AP Spanish Language, French 5 honors, and Chinese 1. And it was very like stressful taking all those classes. So coming to college, I was burned out, and I came in with the mentality, I'm not going to put in 100%, because if I put in 100% and pull all-nighters all night like I heard RISD students do, I'm going to be tired by my senior year. So I didn't put in 100%. I planned to put in like 80%. Ended up not putting 80%. Ended up putting more like 50%, 40%. I was just so tired from high school, and I didn't really want to like work that hard. So after the first semester and being surrounded by some of the best artists in the country who were my age, or just in general the best artists in the country and the world, I just found myself disappointed that I didn't put in effort and that I was wasting my time. And I talked to many people about this. Like I feel like I'm just tired, and I feel like I'm being lazy. And I would go to sleep at like 8 o'clock every night, and people would be like, you're in college, how do you go to sleep at 8 o'clock every night? It's because I wasn't really putting as much effort as I should have into my assignments, but I still ended the semester with A's, and I was happy with that. But next semester I'm like, this isn't okay. I have the opportunity to go to Brown. I have the opportunity to go to RISD. Being surrounded by such smart people, such artistic people, I need to take advantage of these opportunities. So I put in so much effort. The second semester I was up until like 4 a.m. every night for like 5 weeks in a row, and it was so bad that I would be so tired. Like, I'd be up until 4 in the morning. On Tuesday and Thursday I had my modern African literature class. I fell asleep in that class 12 classes in a row, and I was pretty much asleep the whole time, and I would be forcing myself to stay awake, and I just couldn't do it, and I'd be asleep, and by the time like I'd wake up, it'd be the end of class, and I'd just be so disappointed and so embarrassed in myself. But I couldn't help not falling asleep because I'd be up until 4 in the morning trying so hard on my assignments, and also my professors gave a lot more work. But I just learned like, hey, like this isn't okay. I'm being surrounded by some of the best artists and most some people who will be super influential in the US and in the world in the future, and I need to make a good impression of myself, and I need to get back to being the old Yomi that I used to be, the hardworking person that I was. So I became very hardworking again, and then I ended up realizing, like, I started disliking art. By the end of the first semester, I was not liking art. I was like, do I want to do this? Like, I don't really like art anymore. And the reason was because in class I was doing black and white drawings every day. I was doing charcoal drawings, which I hate using charcoal. Every once in a while I'll do black and white drawings, but I'm a color guy. If you look at the art around me that I made, I love using color. I do black and white for a treat every once in a while, but that's rare. Color is my thing. I had to do black and white every day. I had to do charcoal, which I hate using charcoal. I use markers and colored pencils. Not only did I like have to use charcoal all the time, I was doing figure drawings. I don't like doing figure drawings like with like someone like being like naked in front of me. Like, that's not what I like doing, even though like I realize the importance of that, and it helps you with technique, and I've improved a lot on my anatomy. It just can be very uncomfortable for me, just because of like how I was raised and things of that nature. So that was very uncomfortable. So I really realized I didn't like art. Critiques my first semester, which art school critiques are a big thing. Critiques my first semester, they weren't bad at all. Like, people were super nice. Even though my art was bad and I knew it was bad, people would just be like, oh wow, it's nice, like I like the shading, I like this, I like that, even though my art was super bad. So yeah, people were really nice, but too nice. So going into the second semester, even my teacher, like, we made a list of rules for the class, and I said, hey, I want people to be honest. I want people, obviously not to be mean, but I want people to tell you when something's wrong, when something's bad, just to be honest. As I went on through the semester, I kind of regretted saying that because I realized I was very defensive. Like, 2 times my teacher came up to me in drawing class and realized I was very upset. I wasn't like crying or anything, but I was very sad, or I wasn't doing my work because I was so stressed. And my teacher would be like, what's wrong? And I'd be like, critiques just didn't go well. Like, people didn't like my work. There's very little good things said about my work, which in my drawing class was very true. For many classes, almost every single class, it was almost everything said was like negative things, or when I say negative, I mean constructive criticism, but very few positive things were said. And I've realized that, hey, I'm not going to art school to learn for people to just say, I love your work, Yomi, praise your work, you're amazing, Yomi. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to grow, I'm here to learn. But it was very hard for me at first, and it still is hard for me, because making my art is a huge part of me, and it's like a part of my soul. So when people say they don't, like, oh, I'm disappointed like that you did this, like, I wish you would have done this, like, that really hurts me. And I heard like people say that they were disappointed in me, and I was like, why are you disappointed in me? Like, I tried hard on this, and I put my effort into this, and I was up until 4 in the morning doing this, and like drawing all these people, and like, you think the techniques aren't good, and like, I tried so hard, so why don't you like it? Like, I don't understand. I think it's good, and I'd be very proud going to class making these things, and people wouldn't like it, and they would like look at it, and people would, like, it'd be so interesting. People would walk around the class and they'd look around at everyone's work, and they'd be like, tell people their work was good, and then they walk by my work and they'd be like, look at it and just continue walking. And I had never experienced that in my life. People were always complimentary to me growing up. I like your shoes, Yomi. I love your hair. I love your sense of dress. I love your art. You're so artistic. You're so talented. You're so good at hurdles. You're so good at track and field. Growing up, praises every day, praises 24/7. That was what I was used to hearing. Yomi, you're so smart. Yomi, I'm glad that you were my student. Like you really you're one of my favorite students I've ever had. So growing up, that's what I heard all the time. And I'm not saying that to sound conceited, but like growing up, people also told me I was very humble. So it's not like I walked around thinking, oh, I'm the best, I'm the best. But like I knew that I was talented and I knew I was good at things. So coming into art school and having people like look at me like they don't want to talk to me, or even like people have been standoffish, like especially the second semester, like people, a lot of times like I just decided to sit by myself because like I just felt like people were standoffish or were judging me. A lot of the reason I feel like because I'm a dual degree student, so people think I'm kind of pretentious. But a lot of times like I would make art that I thought was good or people I was proud of, and people would just look at it and they wouldn't compliment, but then they would praise other people's work. Even if I felt like it wasn't that good, I'd be like, oh, this is nice, but it's not that great. And people would like guffaw over it, like act like it was like the best thing since sliced bread, and then they look at my work and would just like walk away. And I was like, what is going on? In my first semester, I was so happy. I was surrounded by like a huge African community, which growing up I wasn't around many African people. So I met people who were Ethiopian, from Ghanaian people, I met Nigerian people, I met people from every corner of Africa, or whose families were from every corner of Africa, and it was just so special to me. Because growing up I only knew like 3 or 4 African families. In every single class I had, including me, there were at least 2 other African people in the class. Every single class, even my RISD classes, which RISD used to be 2% black, but now is 6% black. Brown has a huge black population and I love that. But even in my RISD classes, there were at least 2 other African people, not just black people, but African people, people of African descent, even some people who had lived in Africa. So that was amazing to me. And then my second semester, I go on to being, in 4 out of my 5 classes, I was the only, like, racially black person. Like, some people may be part black or like are racially ambiguous, or I'm not sure like what their race was, but like I was the only person that you would look at and be like, that person is black, that person was dark skinned. Not only was I the only black person, there were like a lot of Asian people, or people who were like half Asian, half something else, like maybe part Hispanic or something, but I was the only darker skinned person. Every other person in the class was within like 1 to 3 shades of each other, and I was like 6, 7 shades darker than everyone else. So I stuck out like a sore thumb. And then I realized like people weren't liking my work. Even stuff that I made that I thought was good, like people would be standoffish to. I wasn't connecting with other people in the class, and I just felt horrid. And I just noticed like other areas like within Brown and RISD where people were standoffish to me and I didn't understand, and I never experienced this growing up. So I convinced myself it was because of my race and because I was black, because I was the only black person in my class. Maybe like the way people were talking to me like I was stupid. I'm like, I'm a dual degree student. Only 15 people out of like 700 people were accepted to the dual degree program, and like people are speaking to me like I'm stupid, like I don't know things, like I'm dumb, and I'm like, why are people speaking to me like this? So like I developed a complex. I shut myself off, especially from the RISD community. I would eat dinner like by myself, lunch by myself. I didn't want to talk to people. I like stopped like talking to like many people in like my class, like not like in an angry way, but like I just like when people in my class would like cluster around and talk to people, I would be off not talking to people and be by myself, because I convinced myself I'm not like the other people in the class. People don't like me, people don't want to hang out with me, and that's fine. So yeah, like, but at Brown I stayed strong. I felt like people in Brown were my community, and I still feel like that. Like they understand me. People at Brown want to hear my story. They're excited that I'm a dual degree student. They want to hear about me. They want to have lunch with me. They want to be friends with me. And while people at RISD, like to me, I feel like they're still like very standoffish, like to me personally, and I don't quite understand why. So this year I've learned a lot about relationships, being kind to people, like falling out with people, being like really good friends with people and then ending up like not being friends with them anymore, or like becoming really close with people. This is like the closest with people I've ever been in my life, and just having people that I can count on and hanging out with people, and like walking like a mile away to a fruit tart place with my friend, to going to a party in another city with a group of friends and taking an Uber. Yeah, so I've experienced, excuse the phone ringing, I've experienced a lot of different things in art school and in the Ivy League, and I've experienced like a lot of insecurity financially, because a lot of my friends like here are so like rich and like are like filthy rich, and like I've said this, like I know so many people whose like their parents have made movies that I've watched, have like worked on movies that I've watched, like are in the television industry, or like are celebrities, or like their parents are like doctors and lawyers, and like they make so much money, and like these people, they travel the world, and every year they go to like 2 or 3 countries, and spring break they're living it up in like Puerto Rico or Colombia, and like I've only been to England. So like I just like was very insecure, and I'm like, I don't belong here. I'm not of the same social class as everyone else. I'm with people like who have lived the most lavish lives, some of the richest people in the country. Well, I just feel so insecure here, and I can't relate to people. So that was a huge thing. But I feel like ultimately, after like finishing both semesters and I've moved out, I've realized like a lot. Like even though I'm not of the same social class as everyone, I can get along, and I can learn from their experiences, and they can learn from my experiences. From people asking me, why didn't you visit Brown? Or why didn't you visit RISD before you got here? You know college tours exist. Well, I mean, you know plane tickets are very expensive, so that's not a luxury that everyone has. From people asking me why I haven't really traveled outside of the country. Yeah, that's very expensive. Not everyone can go to 5 or 6 different countries in a year. Like, that's super expensive. And like, I've experienced a lot of people who don't realize how wealthy that they are, and who don't like who don't realize that like not everyone has access to the same opportunities. I know a lot of people who go to like Brown or RISD who are from some of the like some very, very poor countries, like dirt poor countries, and they're like some of the richest people in their countries. So like it's like a very interesting like dynamic there. And I've just learned about so many people from all around the world, like whose parents are like super rich business people, like in Korea and China, and like at the snap of a finger, like anything, they could buy anything. And it's just like been super interesting. So I've experienced like the kind of wealth that I've never experienced, but I've also benefited off of like not like having that much money, and Brown and RISD paying for so many opportunities for me that I couldn't even imagine like experiencing in my life, and I never thought I'd be able to experience. And like it's been amazing. It's been amazing. And something else, like going into college, like I thought like I'd be like a crazy roommate. I'd be so like angry and like standoffish, and like wouldn't get along, because like I'm just like a very isolatory person. Like I like to be by myself a lot of times. You know how many arguments, like huge arguments I've had with my roommate? How many screaming matches I've had with my roommate? 0. My roommate and I have gotten along so well. And like, yes, there are some things like he does that maybe like aren't my favorite thing, or things that like I do that aren't his favorite thing that I can tell. But like ultimately we've gotten along, and like I've just like been so proud of myself that I haven't been like a terrible roommate, and like been so happy that my roommate was a great roommate, because like he's just been amazing, and I'm gonna miss him next year. I'm not gonna be rooming with him, because next year I'll be living at Brown, and I can't have a RISD roommate like next year. So I'll be living at Brown next year instead of RISD. So ultimately I would say my freshman year was interesting. I took a lot of classes that were very niche and weren't very interesting to me. And one of my professors, like for one of my written evaluations for my grade, he said, I bet that this year was underwhelming for you. And I don't know why he said that. But he was very right. In many ways it was very underwhelming. In many ways it was very exciting. I feel like at RISD was underwhelming, and that like I've lost a lot of my respect for myself that I've had for an art. I thought I was a lot better coming in, and now I realize that I really don't know anything, and I'm not really confident in my art skills anymore, and I don't feel very talented, because I go to school with some of the best artists in the world, and their art is so good and so like almost like flawless. Of course no one's art is flawless, but then and their critiques their praise, and then when people see my work, it's almost like they have nothing to say. Like it's almost like my work is like horrid. So I know my work isn't horrid, and you can see my art back here. I'm a good artist. Am I a great artist? I wouldn't say that. I have a lot to learn, but ultimately I've learned a lot this year about life, about people, about like love, about hate, about friendships, about growing as a person. And I'm like just so happy that I ended up going to these very prestigious schools with very like students that are very rich. That it's just taught me a lot, because I didn't grow up around this type of wealth. So I feel like it's really good that I was thrust into an environment that I'm very uncomfortable in, and that I have a lot to learn about. I've learned a lot about anthropology. I haven't taken any anthro classes this year, but just doing self-research, and I've managed to connect my 2 degrees, illustration and anthropology, so well. Almost every project that I did second semester had to do with my anthropology interest and culture, which was really nice. And ultimately, I'm just wow, I'm just so happy that I chose the Brown RISD dual degree program. And ultimately, there are many times where I'll admit I don't want to be in the program, or I don't want to be at Brown, or I don't want to be at RISD, but I need to learn my boundaries, not stay up at 4 in the morning every night. I ended up not doing that at the end of the second semester because I learned my lesson. And yeah, I'm excited for what the future holds. I'll do a lot better next year. I ended up doing very well my freshman year of college, and I'm happy that I held my weight at two very good schools. So with that being said, thank you for watching me get accepted into college, move into college, and eventually move out to college when I post my my last college vlog. And thank you for being here with me for the long run, for encouraging me, and my comments, for following me on like YouTube and Instagram, and just for being there for me and watching me grow as a human being throughout my life, because that's a special thing to watch, like someone grow and change throughout their life. So I really appreciate it, and thank you guys for liking. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I have great news for you. This summer I shall be in Korea doing study abroad through a Seoul, South Korea study abroad program. So I should be there for around 8 weeks studying abroad, and I plan to vlog a lot and be posting a lot of videos frequently. So I'm super excited to be able to finally travel outside of the Western world and experience other cultures, and I'm super happy and super pumped. So stay tuned for those Korea vlogs. You're gonna be so annoyed by my trip. You're gonna see so many videos, hopefully. So yeah, thank you for watching my video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at its_yomi, and continue to support me. Stay tuned for next year, and stay tuned for my sophomore vlogs and my sophomore Brown University move-in vlog, because I'll be moving into Brown next year. Thank you.